Dear black people. Whoa, for a second there I confused myself with a troll who's unworthy of anyone's attention. Sorry about that, but now that I do have your attention, I'm AJ Fry, and this is 5 on Fry, and on this episode, we're taking a look at the World of Warcraft trailer, speculating about a suspended 6-year-old, investigating the sacred art of narration, celebrating the return of one of my favorite segments, our Canadian Cosplay Cutie, and we'll start by discussing our new Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and his cabinet. Why? Because it's 2015, that's why. Justin Trudeau kept his first campaign promise by swearing in a cabinet of 15 men and 15 women. Social media is abuzz with reactions, celebrations from progressives from all parties, and some conservatives lamenting the fact that he decided to go for gender parity as opposed to selecting his cabinet based on experience and merit. Being that I live in Toronto, a very liberal city, and I work in a very liberal industry, by and large my social media stream has been full of celebration. I decided to seek out some articles that offer a different opinion. Tasha Carradine wrote an article for the National Post, linked below, that offered a few reasons to maybe not celebrate so much with regards to this gender-balanced cabinet. She points out that at 15 female cabinet members, it's actually only 3 more than Stephen Harper, our outgoing Prime Minister, had in his final cabinet. She also pointed out that his cabinet was much bigger, which must have made it easier for him to hide in. But seriously, I would have been hiding in that cabinet too. I mean, I've got some skill with paintball guns, but keep real guns the hell away from me. But getting back to the article, I did want to point out one sentence that stood out to me as, well, how do I put this? Too stupid to publish in a national, respectable newspaper like the National Post. She wrote, and I quote, "But this isn't how one should take the measure of a cabinet. Yes, it should have diversity, not for diversity's sake, but because, as any business knows, a range of perspectives makes for better decision-making." So, you shouldn't have diversity for diversity's sake, but for the sake that good business is done with diversity. I discovered that in Microsoft Word, if you pull up synonyms for range, the first one you get is the word variety, and the first synonym for variety is diversity. So you could translate that whole thing to another language, and then translate it back to English, and it would read, yes, it should have diversity, not for diversity's sake, but because, as any business knows, a diversity of perspectives makes for better decision-making. And that means that you should have diversity for diversity's sake, which is what she was trying to argue against. Little tip for your next article, Tasha: have a diverse range of editors look it over to take out all the stupid parts. Alright, let's cleanse our palates from the nastiness of politics with the return of one of my favorite segments. Our Canadian Cosplay Cutie this week is Gina, who also goes by Red Ribbon Cosplay. Here are a few examples of her many, many amazing cosplays. My personal favorite has to be her great Thorin Oakenshield cosplay. I guess I've got a sweet spot for gender-bending cosplays. That and Tolkien stuff in general. Anyway, you can follow her on her Facebook fan page, and she will be at the Toronto Fan Days holiday show on December 5th, so if you're attending, you may just be able to spot her there. Thanks for being our Canadian Cosplay Cutie, Gina. A private school in the US reportedly suspended a 6-year-old for firing a pretend bow and arrow at another student. Not a plastic bow and arrow, or even a stick and some string. No bow and arrow at all. Except like this. Pew! 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 It's my bow and arrow sound. Now, before we get carried away with this story, a quick check on Snopes.com, a leading internet authority on bullshit, revealed that the school has not corroborated or confirmed the story. At the time of recording this, the school has only confirmed that the student was suspended, which means that all the information the media has got so far has come from the parents, which means it could be entirely fabricated or slightly exaggerated. But that lack of factual information isn't going to stop people from arguing about it on Facebook, and it won't stop TV pundits from appearing on panel discussions arguing about it as though it affects anyone other than the students who attend the school, because what else would we talk about, huh? I don't know, maybe the new World of Warcraft trailer?
Whatever you plan to do it now!
Leroy Jenkins! But seriously, folks, I did play a lot of World of Warcraft, and every year as winter approaches, I consider reinstalling the game and getting a guild going and doing some raiding. But then I remember that Minecraft doesn't have a paid subscription service, and neither does playing Dungeons & Dragons with your friends every other Sunday, so far I've managed to avoid it. But there's no way I will avoid going to the theater to see World of Warcraft on the big screen, even if it kind of looks a little cartoony and not cartoony in a Blizzard cartoony kind of way. You know what I'm saying. And really quickly, shout out to my friend Ryan Robbins, who you can see here in the trailer, and my friend Troy Rudolph, who is also in the film. He might be one of these Stormwind soldiers, though I'm not sure. He just told me he was a Stormwind soldier. So I'm gonna assume they're all him. Anyway, I miss you guys, and I'm really jealous that you got to be in the World of Warcraft film. I maybe even hate you a little bit for it. But I still love you guys, and miss you. So you may or may not know this, but my father is actually a professional narrator. Quick plug, you can find his stuff online at patfry.com and webvoicer.com if you ever need a narrator for anything. And yes, you'll quickly realize that in addition to being a narrator, he's also the voice of the dad on Caillou, which is pretty cool. It means that Caillou is kind of my brother in a weird way. But I bring up his voice work because I grew up with a deep understanding and appreciation for things like pronunciation, elocution, vocalization, and all of those sorts of things, and one of the masters of narration is none other than David Attenborough. So when I heard that he was challenged to provide some narration for the opening of Adele's most recent video, Hello, I had to check it out, and yeah, it's awesome, so I thought I would mention it as our final topic in 5 on Fry. If you haven't seen it, well, link, how about we do here? There you go. Linky here, and in the description down below. And that's all for this week. Maybe I'll say it like a narrator. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the future.